I'm sure anyone that purchased the Sony FX30 was excited to work with a professional cinema-style camera that focuses on shooting high-quality video. But that doesn't mean Sony left out all the fun little novelty features. First couple things I noticed that was missing from the Sony FX30 was a viewfinder, of course, and the typical dial on top with all the shooting modes. The lack of a viewfinder was understandable for a cinema camera, but I wasn't sure about the missing dial on top. Sony's answer to keeping a clutter-free camera body is replacing that dial with a simple little mode button that brings up a digital display of all the magical features that are usually found on the dial wheel. And here we can find the first mode that's often looked past, the Intelligent Auto mode for shooting photos. Since we're not photographers here using this camera, there's nothing wrong with quickly switching to this mode and snapping a couple pics for your Instagram or maybe even a YouTube thumbnail. Mostly everything is going to be grayed out in the menu, but you can change some things like turning the timer on in the drive mode, aspect ratio, or even changing the focus mode, including manual focus. Remember this mode exists and use it whenever you need to take some quick high-quality photos. The next mode that's often passed by is the S&Q mode, which was originally a slow and quick way to shoot slow motion footage. But since 60 frames per second and 120 frames per second are now offered, the S&Q mode is now used for creating quick video time lapses. To use the S&Q mode, press the mode button and scroll up or down to the S&Q setting. Once you press it, the first option will be Program Auto, which will set your shutter speed and aperture for you depending on your scene. We'll use this setting and see what kind of time lapse we get. The other settings off to the left are Aperture Priority, Shutter Priority, and Manual, which lets you take control over everything. After we select the Program Auto function, we can go into our menu and change our record setting to 10-bit, our record frame rate, which we'll put to 24 frames per second, and next to that we have the S&Q frame rate, which has a range of 1 frames per second up to 120 frames per second. We'll keep our frame rate to 24, an interval of 1 shot every second. I'll set the focus to continuous autofocus and hit record. We'll let that run for about 10 minutes and see what we get. You can play around with the frame rates and adjust your settings according to your scene. This is a quick and easy way to get a pretty nice looking time lapse out of this camera. And on to our last mode setting that you don't want to pass up, and that's the M1, 2, and 3 memory settings, or quick start modes. I was pretty surprised to hear that a lot of people don't even use these. This just allows you to create some preset shooting modes, so when you turn on your camera, you just press the mode button, scroll up or down to M1, 2, or 3, and you're pretty much ready to go. To set up your memory preset, simply go through your menu and change everything you want to set for your first memory function. I have my frame rate set, my shutter speed, Cine EI, and my starting aperture. You can also go through and add some of your screen displays on there like your zebras, focus peaking, histogram, etc. After you have everything set, scroll down to the shooting icon and over to shooting mode, select camera, set, memory, and it will bring you over to the settings to select. We have M1, 2, and 3 that are set in camera, and there's a few more that you can set which are stored on your memory cards. After you select the number for your setting, get out of the menu and turn your camera off. When you turn it back on and go into your modes, press M1 and your screen should pop up with all your settings ready to go. It was easy for me to set the other two settings because I just used my menu settings for M1 and changed my frame rates to 60 and 120 frames per second and clicked on M2 or M3 in the set memory area. Now, if you ever want to make a change to your memory settings, just make sure you're in the correct memory number you want to change. Go into your menu and make changes. Then scroll back to the shooting mode area and select camera set memory again and just choose the same memory number you're on and it's changed. You can also select recall camera setting to see everything you have saved in your different memory modes. You can see here all my settings for these 3 presets. That's about it for these often overlooked mode functions in the Sony FX30. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments below if you take advantage of any of these features or just keep them hidden in the little mode area out of sight. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos in the great digital outdoors. And if you want to see more content on the Sony FX30, check out these 2 videos here.